Hello, AntiNovelist. As promised, it is the first in our series, our new series, following the book Zettelkasten for fiction writers. And this is going to kick off starting from the very beginning. So, before we get into it, we are looking at the big board. You will notice it's almost finished. Okay, so section 1, part 1 is completely done. And with the editor, part 2 completely done. And with the editor, you'll notice part 3. Are you ready for it? I thought you guys could come with me as I move. Subchapter 904 is done. Subchapter 908 is done. All that's left is chapter 10.1 and 10.2. And that's it. Part 3 is completely finished. And part 4, you will notice. Ready? Excuse me. This is part 5. Part 4 is chapter 14 on nonlinear systems of writing. Done. Boom. Now, you'll recall the skinny long column that was part 5, 1701. Done. That's about stories in, Germany. 1702. Boom. Done. Latin America. 1703. Slow boat to China. Boom. Done. Australia. Sorry, Aussies. You guys, you're out of here. You'll get to Australia in my monthly newsletter, but Australia is not going in the book. Sorry. That leaves only 1704. Dr. Chandra. India is still coming. That's it, guys. Check it out. That is it. I got 2 subsections here. I got 1 subsection here. And this book is done. Holy moly. Wow. Okay, so what's happening next? Let's take a spin over here. Ooh, look at this. So this, my friends, is my new Zettelkasten. What do you think? I wanted lightweight fabric drawers, which these are super, super lightweight, so I can stuff them full of cards and they'll be fine. They're nice and deep, so I can get lots of cards in there. So, and here I've got a perfect little spot. So I'm going to pause this for a second. I'm going to install Wilma in her new cubby where she will live. And then I'm going to go over there and I'm going to grab everything out of the existing Zettelkasten boxes. Yeah, yikes, right? So give me just about 2 minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, so everything is moved off of the bookcase. I'm going to have a huge antique German hutch installed on this wall, which is another reason why Wilma can't live up there anymore. So I'm going to try drawers. Those of you who know me know how I feel about having to pull drawers out in order to sort through cards. We'll see if this works. If it doesn't, yeah, I'll have to make another change. But as for right now, check it out. I've got 4 of my 5 drawers out. I've got my existing Zettelkasten here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to see if I can make this work for you so that you can see what I'm doing. Oh, yes. All right, guys, here we go. This is making it happen in real time. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work. I think the first thing I need to do is separate out the things that are non-Zettelkasten-y. This is just a placeholder. A few things here, some note cards. You know that I recycle things. So I have greeting cards, postcards, a note from my son, postcards, just things that I use as placeholders or out cards. Like if I pull cards out, I can use these to mark where those cards need to go back in. So yeah, and then of course I have this box, which this is the Zettelkasten for fiction writers book. The whole book right there, yikers. So all of that will need to go into a box. So I am going to set about sorting and figure out how all this is going to come together. So give me just a little bit of time and then I will check back in. Okay, just a quick check-in. So here's where we are. So I've taken out this side, which had my plot sandwiches. Some of you might remember the plot sandwiches. We'll get to those when we get to talking about chapter 3 in my book on plot modeling, and building out the plot box in chapter 1. But so I've got my bibliography, my bib cards are all here up front, which will be the top drawer over in the shelves. It'll be the first drawer. Second drawer is the Zettelkasten for Fiction Writer's Book. I think I've decided through this process that I'm going to separate my drawers by project, because I am most likely to want to have similar project items at hand for my workflow. So this is my bib cards and my main box items. This is my Zettelkasten for Fiction Writer's Book. This is my novel. So I think, because obviously this can't share that box, there's not enough real estate. I think the novel and the story Bible that goes with it, we'll talk about that when we get to story Bible, that I think is going to go in the third drawer down. And then the fourth drawer down, I will put this section of my Zettelkasten in, which I've got, these are writing prompts and tools. This is my Right to Freedom box, which has all of my Right to Freedom stuff in it. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish moving these things over into their boxes and finish getting these bins emptied out. So I will check in a few minutes. Okay, so I'm already having stress. I'm such a creature of habit. The reason I used these large bins is because I could see all of my Zettelkasten that I was using at a glance, right? I had a top-down view. I could see everything in 3 nice columns. Over here, okay, so these are organized nicely in their bins, which I mean in their drawers. It fits beautifully. I've even got room along the side to store extra cards with plenty of room left over. So I'm super happy with these drawers, especially, like I said, because they're fabric, they're lightweight, Amazon, $60, love it, love it. But I'm already stressing because I know that these drawers are going to have to go back in that cabinet, and I'm not going to be able to see everything. I know. I can pull them out just like they are right here. I can still see the things. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this works. I don't know. I'll tell you the truth. I don't know. So I've got everything back in order for the most part. It's not too scary. I am going to keep my Right to Freedom cards. I think I'm going to put those in the front of my Zettelkasten for Fiction Writer's Book, because in my mind, those things are all relevant. Obviously, this program is helping me get that book launched, so that makes sense. All that is left over here, this guy. This, friends, is my index. Okay, this is where I departed from the Scott Scheper system. And I'm going to show you this because when I very first set up my Zettelkasten system, this is my list. I literally laid out, what do I want my notebox real estate to look like? Well, under the 1000s, Arts and Humanities, I put plot under 1001. 1100 is Library and Museum Sciences. 1110 is Zettelkasten for Fiction. Now you guys will be learning very soon that 1150 is my Zettelkasten for Fiction Writer's Book. So you'll notice all of these cards are addressed 1150 and then followed by the chapter and the chapter subsection where they belong. So that works out nicely. 1200, 1300 is blank. I designated the 1400s for literature and language. 1620 is for acemic writing. So then I've got my social sciences, not much going on there because that's not an area that I've read very widely in. My natural sciences, 3100 is biology and evolution. 3200 is botany. 3300 is human biology and death studies. 3400 animal biology. 3401 sharks. And then I've got applied sciences. I've got 5001 metallurgy, 5101 military intelligence, 5201 military science and the science of war, 5203 espionage, Then I've got some Kathleen Spracklin items filed here on her profile diagrams from her character traits, which if you haven't checked out Writing with Emotion, get her book. It's excellent, kathleenspracklin.com. And then, of course, my 7,000s. My 6,000s are my general what have you. And then my 7,000s are for my novel, which is now over there in drawer number 3. So that was how I initially sketched out just what the basic real estate of my Zettelkasten would look like. And then, of course, if you go over into the index, I've got 2 tabbed pages for each letter of the alphabet, so I've got plenty of room to grow. Down the left margin are my real world, my nonfiction research and endeavors. And down the right margin is my novel world. So you can see, and then if I have a collection, like a group of like things, those go on a card, the card gets punched, and that card just goes right into that letter of my index. But yeah, you can see the majority of my Zettelkasten is built exclusively to serve writing my novel, because I'm not using it in the same way that Scott uses it as an academic tool, as a nonfiction writing tool, except for this book. So my box is a little different. And for me, rather than flipping through index cards to find things, I need to see a lot of real estate. Are you sensing a theme here? I need a high-level view of stuff. So rather than single individual alphabetized index cards, I wanted my index so that I could see all of my C words, both for nonfiction, my research, and for fiction, my story world. That way I see all of those things together. I can make those connections. I discover stuff all the time just because I can see all of the things, and I'll be like, ooh, hey, conversation and dialogue cards. Well, that could fit with a conversation that Charlotte's having or whatever. It just works for me to be able to see everything at a glance on a single index page. So you do you. You have to put your box together the way that your brain thinks and the way that you're going to be able to find your way back through that thought train. So these drawers will go into their tower. The index will sit up on top. There's a nice little space right there where I can just slide that baby right in. And that, my friends, is where we are. So step 1, figure out, what do you want your Zettelkasten real estate to look like? Just give yourself, like I use the academic disciplines, just like Scott says, and then I feathered under them the areas that I knew I would need to research in order to get my novel written. And that's how this list was populated. And then I could just take a glance at this as I was creating my main cards, create my bib card like you do, and then file my main cards where they go based on my numbering. So that is a high-level overview of Migrating Wilma, which that's Wilma, my little mule Wilma. My Zettelkasten is named after the beautiful, amazing, sure-footed lady that has carried me into and out of the Idaho backcountry, 3 hours each way, 6 hours round trip, crossing 3 rivers, scaling mountain cliff walls, ridiculous, crazy. This is my lifeline. My Zettelkasten is named after the little girly girl who literally carried my life in and out of the mountains. So Wilma is in her new home. I'm going to put my drawers away. I'm going to spend a little time doing some organizing. Some things have migrated out of where they belong, so I need to get that done. And then I need to get back to writing because I only have just a few little sections left to do, and the Zettelkasten for Fiction Writers book is done. Chef's kiss. Mwah. So I will leave you guys there for today. I hope seeing this process was helpful. It's always messy when you make a migration, but at the end of it, you hope that you end up better than you started out. I will let you know. In the next video, we'll go a little bit deeper into the process by which you set up a plot box and you start to do character research and development. So if you don't have your system set up, get your system set up. And then in the next video, we will start with step 1, which is building the plot box, and we'll start working on character development. So I will see you all in a week for the next Zettelkasten for Fiction Writers Beginner's Guide series. Thank you so much. See you next time.